Hello and welcome back to another episode of Total Extreme Wrestling MCW Local to Global. And in this episode, we should be going up to Tiny. But first of all, before we can book the show, we've got some backstage incidents. We've not had any of these for a while, actually. So let's go and have a look at what's going on. Rampage Brown has got something going on. He helped create a fun and relaxed atmosphere, finding a discarded karaoke machine and starting an impromptu pre-show competition. His medley of power ballads apparently stole the show. Brilliant. And then Dave Mastiff and Saraya Knight. What's going on here? Dave Mastiff was brought before Wrestlers Court, accused of failing to pick up his share of the tab at the bar. The judge, Saraya Knight, found him guilty and sentenced him to buy drinks for everyone after the show. And it had a positive impact on Mastiff, which is nice to see. So with that, we'll go and book the show. And we opened the show in a bout that had superb wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Roy Knight defeats Martin Kirby in 11:05 by pinfall. This got the show off to a strong start, which is exactly what we wanted, because we just wanted to start the show with a work the crowd, getting a 47 rating, which was a lot higher than I expected to get from this match. And after the match, we have Roy Knight calling out Zach, who doesn't come out. Obviously, they've had quite a bit of an issue recently with Zach turning on Ricky and cheating to win a lot, and including his title win in the last episode. And it's starting to annoy Roy, but despite that, Zach does not show his face. After that, we have Pac saying he's pissed off at his loss to Lionheart in the last show, and he wants a match, open challenge, issued to anyone. He was poor improvising dialogue, which is unfortunate, only getting a rating of 22. But with him living in Japan now, it's costing us a bit more money to bring him in. And also his availability is very hit and miss. So Pac is going to be featuring less. But can he pick up a win tonight? That isn't until the main event, though. And in the meantime, we have Becky James in a bout that had decent wrestling, but not much heat. She picks up a win against Sarah Jones by pinfall in 9:15. And that gets a segment rating of 24. Sarah Jones with a rating of awful for her gimmick. That's not great. Not sure if there's a reason why it was so bad, but we'll have to see what we can do with that. And after the match, we just have Becky James celebrating as she continues to build momentum with yet another win, although she doesn't do well without a script to follow. All you're doing is celebrating. That's all you've got to do. But okay. And then we go into Marty Scurll coming out. He wants to right his bad tournament. Obviously, he only picked up one win during the entire tournament. And he calls out anyone that he lost to. And it is Clint Majera that comes out. Which means, of course, this is going to be a hardcore match. And in a decent match, Clint Majera beats Marty Scurll in 7 minutes 58. Segment rating of 37. So Marty Scurll once again failing to pick up a win, despite a pretty good in-ring performance, which is nice to see. And the crowd was buzzing after that match, which is great because our main event is coming up very shortly. But just before that, we do have Marty Scurll pretty much throwing a tantrum after his loss. Only gets the segment rating of 16, but just progresses his little story of he's really struggling to pick up any momentum. And that's going to be continuing because during his tantrum, he says he wants another match against somebody who beat him in the tournament at MCW Live in 2 weeks' time. And now we have Pac coming out for his open challenge. And it's answered by Zack Sabre Jr. And that gets a segment rating of 21. Hopefully, this could be an absolutely fantastic match between these two. Let's jump into it. And it is in a bout that had superb wrestling and good heat. Pac defeats Zack Sabre Jr. in 17:43 by pinfall with a shooting star senton. And that gets a segment rate of 62. Absolutely phenomenal match there. Gets the crowd buzzing and ends us on a fantastic note. The show gets us a 49 and increases our popularity in one region, which I believe in a moment we will see exactly what that's done for us. So we'll tell Becky, Roy and Pac that they had good performances. We'll tell Pac he was a great performance actually, and they're all pleased with that. Let's go and check the news. Just before we get into our own emails, Jim Neidhart has been arrested. We don't know why, but hopefully that's going to be something that comes out. I didn't know that was a thing in this game. He's currently unemployed. I mean, apparently there doesn't seem to be anything against him at the moment, but we'll see what happens with that. I'll update you when we get to it. But Midlands Championship Wrestling has risen to tiny size. So, huge news for us there. Let's go and have a look in here. Size. Currently have a size rating of tiny. The criteria for achieving each size rating are shown below and depend on where the company is based. So now that we've achieved that by getting 17 popularity in the Midlands, our next step is 35 popularity in the Midlands. That might take a bit of time. However, can we now get ourselves on TV? Let's have a little look. No, literally nobody will let us be on their TV. Well, it was worth a look, I suppose. We've literally searched for anywhere that will negotiate, and they are having none of it. So I suppose we'll just head to MCW Live and do it in front of our own fans again. Oh, also, just before we do that, MCW Midlands Mayhem was in front of 118 people this time. So, pretty nice crowd. Let's go and do our second show. And for MCW Live, after our move to a tiny company, we shoot up to 143 people in attendance, which is absolutely fantastic. And in the opening match, a match that had a decent reaction but terrible wrestling, Holly Blossom defeated Alex Windsor in 8:55 by submission after interference from Hannah Blossom. So this continues the gimmick of what really happened is Holly got knocked out the ring, rolls under the ring, in comes Hannah, she picks up the win, and we don't know any better. As far as we're concerned, we don't know that they're twins. After the match, we then have Blossom celebrating, but Soraya is looking on from ringside, a bit suspicious. She was watching on because Alex Windsor is her protege, and we've actually brought her in on a one-night deal just to see how she did. And I have to say, quite impressed. So I think we'll be getting a new addition to the women's roster, which is sorely needed because we are quite low on faces. After that, we have Brittany just kind of saying, Becky, you're having a good run, but you're going to need at least one more win before you get me to defend my title against you. Just, yeah, she's really controlling the situation, just saying, look, you're doing well, but you're not doing quite well enough just yet. After that, Marty once again issues an open challenge to anyone that beat him during the tournament, and our champion Lionheart answers the call. Can Marty pick up a shock win, which would surely give him a future title shot? And about that had great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Lionheart defeats Marty Scurll in 11:35 by pinfall with a leap of faith, getting a segment rate of 53, which is absolutely fantastic. More good work from both of these men. However, Marty Scurll, once again, unable to pick up a win. In this case, it's more understandable. It was against our champion, who has been absolutely fantastic. I don't think he's lost a match yet. But after the match, Dave Mastiff attacks Lionheart. Mastiff is back with a vengeance. He's not forgiven the fact that, he beat Lionheart up for weeks, for months, and still Lionheart managed to beat him in that tournament. So Mastiff now saying, you might have been the first champion, but you're a marked man, and I'm coming for you. Then we have a little segment backstage. Ricky Knight telling Brittany, well, you're going to have to defend your title tonight, actually, in the main event against Jenny Shodin, because during the round robin tournament, Jenny Shodin pinned Brittany Knight, and in the triple threat, Brittany did not pin Jenny, from what I remember. I do apologise if I got that wrong, but that's the story we're going for. So Brittany, not happy about this, but says, you know what, fine, I'll do it. I'll defend my title for the first time, and I'll come out still champion, so deal with that. In a bout that had decent reaction but terrible wrestling, we have Rampage Brown defeat T-Bone in 4 minutes 38 with a sit-down powerbomb, only getting a segment rating of 12, which is absolutely awful. However, they didn't click, so not necessarily anyone at fault. Maybe it was just a bad combination. Again, T-Bone, somebody who's a local worker. We didn't really want to put Rampage Brown over anybody on our face side of the roster. So I thought for this occasion we'll bring in somebody who, again, we can try him out. This not really making me think we want to sign. However, this showing not really giving me a reason to sign T-Bone. But hopefully our main event can bounce back from that just before we do the Rampage Brown in a 30 rated segment, just saying no one is safe in MCW. He is pissed about losing the title match, and he is going to destroy anyone and everyone. And that might start at the next Midlands Mayhem show. But now it's time for the main event. And in a 36 rated match, Brittany Knight defeats Jenny Sheridan with a nightlight, making defense number 1 of her MCW Women's Championship title. A decent match. Not our best, but I wasn't really expecting this to be among our best matches. After the match, Brittany celebrating with her title, gets a 42 rating, which is absolutely lovely, leaving us with a 38 rated show and our popularity increasing again. So MCW continuing to build momentum, and we've got a couple of matches lined up for the future. Dave Mastiff is obviously going after Lionheart, Becky James and Brittany Knight likely on a collision course. Saraya Knight very suspicious of Holly Blossom, and she's brought in her protege. So maybe we might have something going on between that group of people as well. If you have enjoyed that, please do leave a like down below. Comment who do you think should beat Lionheart for his title eventually. We're not planning on anything too soon. But subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and thank you very much for watching.